a lot of information, an incredible amount of information of just a whole agenda. And we know that, the beginning of the tribulation period, those coming saying that they are Christ, the false prophets, the earthquakes, the wars, the famines, the plagues. And we're going to start seeing that in intensity. And I think one of the biggest things is, for years we've had these Hindu gurus and everybody else calling themselves messiahs, and this Sun Myung Moon guy sitting in Congress being heralded as the Messiah. I mean, that was a joke, and how that was ever put on in one of our congressional buildings, it should have never taken place. And of course, nobody gave up an outcry loud enough to where Congress even, was held up to accountability for it, just because this guy has an incredible amount of money and a lot of people in his back pockets. But this is where we're headed. And when you see these false prophets, these false Christs coming, the Lord's second coming's right around the corner. And when he comes, he's not coming to institute an economic program. He's not coming to build a kingdom here on earth with everybody here and take the mess that we're already in and try to make it better. When he comes, he's going to destroy this whole place. When he sets up his kingdom on earth, it's starting from scratch. It's starting from new. There will be no evil left. It will be judged and dealt with. And when he comes, he's coming with 10,000s of his saints, and he's coming back at the Battle of Armageddon. So if you know Bible prophecy, then you'll know what to expect. You'll be able to tell these messiahs that come calling themselves Christ. You'll know it's not them. You've got to have a foundation on what Bible prophecy is itself. And I encourage you to read the book of Revelation. It's really not that scary. It might sound a little weird the first time you read it because of all the symbolism. But the symbolism in the book of Revelation is always described elsewhere in the Bible. I mean, if I could figure that out when I was 12 years old, I know you can too. The beast coming out of the sea with 10 horns, and then you can read, if you want to understand the first part of Revelation 13, read the first chapter, the first part of chapter 17, because it describes the first part of Revelation 13. If you're not left hanging anywhere, the answers to everything symbolic are usually right within the text itself or just elsewhere. And so it just takes a little bit of research. But you have to have a firm foundation of prophecy itself, and even of the Lord himself, so that when the false ones come, that it's not him. Matthew 24, Matthew said, many will be deceived. Jesus, his own words, said many will be deceived. So don't think that many aren't, because we know that they are. Millions are going to fall for this Maitreya guy, and this Sananda guy, and this Jermaine guy, and everybody else who comes saying he's the Messiah, because the Lord said they would be. And that's part of our job as watchmen, to sound the alarm so that people know. They know ahead of time. They're prepared of what's coming. The Lord said, when I come back, will there be faith left on the earth? Because what's going to happen is so many people are going to get so shaken in their faith that they're not going to know what to believe. They're just going to throw their hands up in the air. They're going to fall for every whim, every false thing that comes along, or just give up their faith altogether because they can't handle having their boxes rattled, their faith shaken. So if you know who the Lord is, you know what he isn't, and you know what to expect in these last days. Listener caller line 260-356-2611. This week I'm going to get back into a little bit of writing, and I'm going to put a summary of the 21 judgments of the book of Revelation on my site this week. I'm going to talk about the seals and the trumpets and the bowl judgments, and try to give you an idea of what those are. And you can read about them in the book of Revelation, starting with chapter 6, 6, 7, and 8. Talk about the seal judgments, then goes on into the trumpets and the bowls. And we know that the arrival of Planet X, this planet Rahab, also known as Nibiru, coming in, can create a lot of those judgments depicted with the bowls and the trumpets. Now, this whole little mini solar system from Orion is coming into our system, and that's what's causing so much upheaval of the earth. And Isaiah says the earth is going to rock like a drunkard. It's going to wobble to and fro. And I've heard that the sun itself is already rotated, whatever. It's in the photon belt now. And that's why we're having so many sun spurts and problems with the sun right now, is because the sun is sitting in the photon belt, which is our asteroid belt. And, as I was reading just earlier today about the seal judgments, and you look at the sixth seal, about that huge earthquake and how the sky is seen as a scroll. And you ever see billows of smoke, and you can imagine the whole sky scrolling. That's a lot of smoke. That's one major earthquake. And the one thing I was thinking about when I'm reading that is I'm feeling comet. That's from a comet hitting the earth. And so that's a real possibility. And we know comets being in the photon belt and getting closer to it, I guess, it's going to be rotating into this photon belt sooner or later along with the sun. And we could very likely get hit by a comet. And so that's something to think about, something to prepare about. I wouldn't be looking at buying a new house, folks. I'd be looking at buying a cave. If you live in the hills, dig you out a place inside of a hill, build a bomb shelter inside of a hill, inside of a mountain. Dig in. Because I have with all the earth rocking and wobblings coming up, a lot of standing structures just aren't going to be standing too much longer. There's a lot of devastation, a lot of destruction worldwide, worldwide level. And if you're on the coast, I've been saying for weeks, get away from the coast, get inland, get up. If you're on islands, get to mainlands. Because, looking in the book of Revelation, by the time the Lord comes, where every island is fled out of its place, which means it's sunk, islands are going to sink. They're not going to be safe. And, those on the eastern islands of Japan, and those islands over there, and that's the ones that I felt the most strongly to warn the people that are over there in Japan, because it's going to sink, it's going to go down. And, the west coast of America, scientists are saying that if a tsunami hit the west coast of America, it would come 100 to 150 miles inland. And that's just a tsunami hitting the west coast. So imagine, that would pretty much take out half the, look at our whole coastline of California, Oregon, Washington, 100 miles from the shoreline on in. So that's a lot. That's the bulk of the populations of those states. So pay attention to your thoughts, and ask the Lord to guide your thoughts, to let you know when you should flee certain areas. If He's telling you to leave, leave. Listener line 260-356-2611. This week, haven't posted any codes. Didn't have time to do codes this week. Getting a lot of requests to do a code on Arnold Schwarzenegger. Still want to finish up the one on Javier Solana. And, I was looking at the six seal trumpets today, and it came to mind when I was reading them. If you look at